The Tongan Islands lie 23 degrees south of the equator in the Pacific Ocean. A tropical nation comprising over 100 islands, Tonga still has its own king, who is not only head of state but is head of the state church. Tonga was never formally colonized by any European nation, and therefore its cultural practices today reflect ancient tradition and modern Christianity. In 1773, Captain James Cook, a British explorer, described and named the Tongan Islands as the Friendly Islands, one of the greatest embodiments of Tongan history, culture, and religion is tapa cloth. This is a treasured textile which is made from natural materials that grow in the Tongan Islands. No religious ceremony is complete without tapa cloth. Sometimes woven mats are used as floor coverings and church decorations, and even as the outermost layer of ceremonial clothing. But tapa cloth is especially prized as a covering for the casket of a deceased person. After a funeral ceremony has been conducted or according to Christian rites, the casket will be taken to a burial ground nearby. A huge tapa cloth called a launima will be held up around the grave so that no one can look into the grave, for it is taboo to look into the grave of another person. Several decades later, the bones of a deceased person may be dug up by his or her relatives. Tongans like to take care of their dead. When they dig up the bones, they may re-cement the grave so that it can withstand another few decades of use. As seen here, a young Tongan girl and her brother disinter the bones of their great-great-grandfather. They lovingly oil his bones using a piece of tapa that's been dipped in scented coconut oil. The bones are then wrapped in a brand new piece of tapa and buried again. Tapa forms a warm, comfortable, loving blanket for the bones of their great-great-grandfather. And some old Tongan people prefer to use tapa cloth for their sleeping cover. They say it's the warmest blanket you can find. Weddings are among the most festive times in Tonga. A bride and groom's family will exchange gifts of folded pieces of tapa and woven mats. These textiles represent cultural wealth. All materials used to make tapa grow in the wild. However, many families cultivate their own plants on their farms for tapa making. The hiapo tree, or the paper mulberry tree, is the basic raw material for tapa making. The white inner bark is stripped off from this and soaked in water. Later, these white strips will be beaten using a method called tutu. Tongan women, who do most of the work involved in tapa making, beat these strips with a wooden hammer on a wooden anvil. The result of this work is long, wide, soft sheets of white tapa. Other Tongan women will be busy making design boards for decorating finished tapa. These are called kupesi boards, and they are made of dried pandanus leaves, dried hibiscus fiber, and coconut fiber. The actual design is made in a relief pattern using the coconut leaf stems. These stems are sewn on by hand to form a relief pattern on the board. The women sit together in groups of even numbers. They lay the white sheets of tapa that they have beaten over these design boards, and they slowly join the pieces together using either natural adhesives or flour and water paste. As they join the pieces into one large sheet, they also rub reddish-brown dye over the surface of the textile. This causes the relief pattern to be imprinted from below. As the women work, they laugh, sing, and talk. It is by far the most exciting and fun-filled part of making tapa cloth. Once the assembly stage is completed, the tapa cloth is put outside for a couple of days to dry. It then takes several days of steady work by several women to paint the design motifs in dark, firm lines using a black dye called tongo. The particularly artistic part of the process is in rubbing in the dye, and this is called doing koka or kokaanga. A girl who can do koka well is worth marrying. Tongans have a varied stock of ancient dance performances. Men and women participate in Tongan dance, and very often tapa cloth is the most beautiful costume a dancer can wear. There are also seated dances, like the ma ulu ulu, seen here, performed by both men and women. Tongan males have the responsibility to protect the community. Here, a Tongan man is seen doing a dance to chase away evil spirits in the manner of his ancient forefathers, and his tapa garments reflect the beauty and the handiwork of Tongan women. Here, our lead Tongan artist, Siu Tuita, resident of Oakland, California, is seen showing her niece how to do the koka. With them is an older Tongan woman, and we see that the knowledge is passed from generation to generation, whether Tongans are living in their island home or in the San Francisco Bay Area.
They are watching. My two nieces over here, they are doing it. They were watching. While I'm doing this with my sister-in-law, Belen. We have to put some flour or something sticky, so that it's gonna connect, make it longer, right? So they're gonna make a design, we call it a tokilau. And this one is a very special one for the how to make the tapa. And we also do this and the fata like we used to do it first, to make a special ngatu for the king. We just call it a royal ngatu or royal tapa. So I wish that my granddaughter over here could rub it so that she want to learn. You try it, eh?
Sai, Emma.
Yeah, she knows how to do it.
Photo, Emma. Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. They need to know what are we doing, what we are doing.
As we see here, tapa cloth, Tongan dancing, Tongan singing, hand movements, bodily gestures, and head movements are all highly intertwined parts of Tongan cultural practice. Our lead artist, Siu Tuita, is not only an experienced tapa maker, she's also an accomplished Tongan singer and musician. She always includes audience participation when her group, the Otofelenite community of Tonga, performs in the Bay Area. She believes that Tongan culture is a beautiful thing to be shared with others and to be tried by all.